Hello Floss Tube, my name is Jasmine and welcome back to my channel Bluesy Jazz. I am so excited for my update today because I have not one, not two, but 3 finishes to share with you today. Progress on some whips, as well as sharing some projects that I've kitted up for my 30 for 30 venture next year. So buckle up, grab a snack, and come along with me as I share my progress. I am so excited for today's update. So let's just dive in with the finishes. The first finish to share is patterned by Shannon Christine Designs, and it is the pattern Bluebird. I started this project on January 1st, 2022 on a 28 count ice blue Lugana, and I did 2/2 full cross. And it is not FFO'd, but it is finished. I finished this on July 1st. I'm so excited that this is finished. I don't know how I'm going to FFO this yet. I think it's going to kind of sit aside for a while before I finish it and have something inspiration strike me. What I worked on since you last saw is I had finished the stitching in the bird, the stitching in the flower. There was stitching left to be done on these flowers, and kind of up here in the border, so to speak. Plus all of the back stitching and beads, and I was able to finish all of that, and it was so exciting to finish. I did start tracking my time with cross stitch this month. I was very curious to see how much time I get to spend stitching, and I found an app that allows me to track it in a way that's easy for me. And so I actually kept up with it instead of like trying and failing. So I kept up with it all month. So every project that we go over today, I'm going to tell you how long I stitched on it this month. And for Bluebird, I stitched on this for a total of 4 hours in July. And that was to finish up everything that I had left. Since I did record like towards the end of June, there was some time on June. The 4 hours was just on July 1st, from the 1st of the month. So that's how all of the times that I'll be saying, it's just the month of July up until today, which is July 29th. But yay, a big finish. I was very excited for that. That really motivated me to really knock out some finishes. So got that one done. Then I got another piece done. This one I really wanted to get done as a gift for a family friend who helped with our air conditioning. I was very grateful for that, for this person, this family, and what they did to help us out. I will be inserting a video in here in just a moment that I recorded to show you the piece because I do not have it. I gave it to the recipient already. But to tell you about the piece a little bit in case I didn't cover everything in the video, I'm going to insert. It is the English Cottage Sampler by Teresa Wentzler, and I only stitched the cottage. And I stitched this on a 28 count mystery even weave, 2/2 full cross. I started it on June 30th, 2022, and I finished it July 17th, 2024, and I stitched on it in July for a total of 18 hours and 20 minutes. So I will let past Jasmine take it away. Hello, future self. I'm hoping that future Jasmine has air conditioning. I am recording this on July 17th. I am glistening in sweat. It's like in the 80s and very hot, and our AC has not worked for a few weeks. But I have a cross stitch finish, and I'm inserting this video because I'm actually gifting this in the next day or two to the person that's fixing our AC. It is a family friend, and they have a very hunting cottagey kind of decor style. And so I thought this was a very fitting gift. So this is the English Cottage Sampler by Teresa Wentzler. I did this on a 28 count, 2/2 full cross. I do not have the linen. I started this on June 30th, 2022, and I finished it today, July 17th, 2024. So just about over 2 years, but this is my finish and FFO. Get closer for the stitching. To FFO this, I pinned and laced this onto some foam core board. This was my first time ever pinning and lacing. I think it turned out pretty good. Obviously, I think I have some room for improvement, but as someone who has never pinned and laced before and who's gifting this to someone who's not going to notice or care about any imperfections, it's good enough. It looks fine. I basically glued it to this wooden board. I think this board is an 8x10, if I'm not mistaken, that I painted this dark green. And then I just glued this trim around the edge. Really simple finish. It got the job done. I needed to do it very quickly because hopefully they will fix my AC tonight or tomorrow. But I thought this was a great thank you for him. So 1 FFO for 2024. And then the next finish I have to share with you is a big finish that I am so excited about. It is my first finished Mirabilia. So I stitched Lady Justice by Mirabilia. I started her on May 1st, 2022 to celebrate graduating college on a 28 count. We the People Even Weave. I'm pretty sure this is 32 count. This says 28, but I should say 32. I'm gonna change that. On a 32 count, We the People Even Weave by Fabric Flare. It was done 2/2 full cross with all of the called for floss. And here she is. She's gorgeous. I'm so excited. So since you saw her last, I finished up the train. I think I had to do pretty much all of this down here yet. I stitched this entire ribbon. I did all of the beading since you saw her last. And it was a ton of work, but I was so excited to get her done, and I just wanted to push through and get her done. I did a lot of stitching on her this weekend to get her there, and she is gorgeous. She is finished. She's not FFO'd. I do want to have her framed, probably professionally. I think I want to have her done in a frame that matches the frame that I have my diploma in, so that I can put them up next to each other. So exciting. For the stats on her, I think I did say I started her May 1st, 2022. I stitched on her in July for 30 hours and 20 minutes. And like, cross stitch, man, takes forever, because that 30 hours, all I did was like this much stitching. Doesn't seem like a lot for 30 hours, but cross stitch just takes so long. I am really excited in the future to continue tracking my time on pieces that I have started. Like, I've been able to track from beginning to end and see how much time it took to stitch that entire piece. Because if just this took 30 hours, she had to have taken over 100, maybe 200 hours to stitch total. I'm very excited to have a finished Mirabilia. I am so happy with her. Lady Justice. So that's the most exciting portion of this video, in my humble opinion, but no, nevertheless, we must continue. I had sort of one new start. I had mentioned in a video previously that I was working on starting a pattern that I designed myself, but really all it is words. It's lyrics from a Taylor Swift song called How Did It End? I think that song is just so beautifully lyrically written. So I wanted to stitch the words. I did technically start it on June 29th, 2024. It is being stitched on a 28 count white Monaco. I do not have a picture to show you because I am just stitching it as I go. And I am stitching it in a variegated DMC red. I'm not sure the number off the top of my head. But so far we hereby conduct this postmortem. He was a hothouse. This is, I'm not sure if I said it's 1/1 on 28 count Monaco. Very simple. It's one that I don't necessarily haven't been drawn to stitch on a lot because it is kind of boring with just words. But it's one that I'm happy with. Next, again, this video might be rather short. We'll see. Next is whips. So I have 2 other whips that I worked on this month. This was a total of an hour stitching in July. Again, I did start this June 29th, so there were like 2 days in June that I stitched this plus the 1 hour in July. Okay, 2 more projects that I worked on. Both of them are perforated paper. One of them is a Mill Hill. So this is Sunflower Bouquet. It is a buttons and beads. It is being done 2/1 full cross on the called for perforated paper. I started this on August 31st, 2022. And I have done a lot of work since you last saw this. So here we go. The last time you saw this, I had just the cross stitching done on maybe this much of it. Since then, I have filled in all of the cross stitching in the first top 20 rows and the beading, as well as the next set of 20 rows. I did all the, basically that's how I was working it, was I was doing 20 rows of stitching followed by the beads, 20 rows of stitching followed by the beads. And I completed that, and now I'm on to this next portion. Because of the way this is patterned, I decided to just do the rest of it all in one chunk. It just made the most sense, and here is where I'm at. I spent 18 hours and 20 minutes working on this month. The last whip I have to show you is the 12 Days of Christmas by Cute Embroidery by Kate. I have spent a total of 5 hours and 20 minutes on this month so far. I am stitching this on a white perforated paper 2/2 full cross with all the called for colors. I started this on December 1st, 2023. And I finished stitching, I stitched the interiors of these 2 stamps. My goal has been kind of to work on 2 stamps per month, and I won't work on the interior of a stamp until I have finished the border and the background around it. I do have some critiques with this pattern. It does not come across on camera. It looks like it's actually reading very well on camera, but in person, the color difference between this white and this tan is so minute. It's actually really hard to see. Same with the eggs, because it's the same color difference, unless you're in the right light. I think the light that I have on right here is helping, but like, if I just have this displayed, it's going to be very hard to see. I wish I would have changed the colors. I wish I would have changed them. The pattern itself is very, very nice. I just think the colors could have used some more variants so that you could see it better. So as far as plans go, besides those 3 whips that I just showed you, I only have 2 other whips now that I've finished the 3 that I showed you from earlier. The other 2 that I have are Celtic Spring and the Rose of Sharon by Mirabilia. And my goal for 2024 is to get as many whips completed as possible, and I am in really good shape to get that down to 2 or fewer. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm going into 2025 knowing that I'm going to have 80 some starts in 2025. And if I can get my whip count down to 2 or fewer, I'm not going to be feeling very overwhelmed. I've really looked back at my history of stitching, and I really like to kit up and start a bunch, and then over the process of a couple years work through those, then kit up a bunch and work through those for another couple years. That seems to be what works really well for me. And so I'm looking forward to starting my projects in 2025. And on that note, I'm going to show you some projects that I have gotten fully kitted over the past month that I will be starting in 2025. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8 to show you today. The first one is Bah Humbug by Calico Confectionery. I have this kitted up with the called for DMC, and I have chosen a 32 count cobblestone linen, and I intend on stitching this 3/2. And that 3/2 is called for. They do call for 3 strands to give it a very dark look and full look. And especially since I am doing it on a very dark fabric, I think the 3 strands is going to look great. Next is a pattern from Stitchy Fish Designs called Solitude. And this is actually from a Just Cross Stitch magazine. Let me see which one. This was February 2023 when I had this as a subscription. There's the pattern. And I am stitching this on a 14 count vintage blue Aida. And I don't necessarily really like stitching on Aida. However, I have some of this in my stash and I wanna use what I have. So vintage blue, it's more light blue than it's coming across on camera. It's kind of getting washed out a little bit. I will have pretty tight margins on this one, but I think it's gonna be okay because it's Aida. Next is a pattern that I'm doing weirdly to put in my bathroom. It's weird to intentionally do a cross stitch for a bathroom in some ways in my mind. I'm not sure. But it is called Fresh Picked Lavender. It is by Pedal Pusher. And I am doing this on a 32 count charcoal gray Lugana 2/2 with all of the called for DMC, which over this I think is just going to look really pretty. I don't usually keep all of my floss bobbinated, but when I was pulling from stash, all of these just were already on bobbins and I didn't feel like taking them all off. So I just kept these on there. I think I've explained before that I inherit a lot of my stash from estate sales, people aging out of the hobby, recently, actually, my neighbor came over, and unfortunately a friend of hers had passed, and she brought over a bunch of quilting supplies and DMC, and the elder generations of cross stitchers tend to use bobbins, so a lot of what I have is on bobbins. All right, continuing on. Oh, I haven't been saying, I actually do have intended start dates on all of these. So Bah Humbug, I'll be starting on January 20th, 2025. I know it's not a very wintry stitch. Obviously, it's very Bah. Two reasons for that. One, I bought this chart because it was on my wish list, and I thought I had planned to start it, and then I didn't actually plan to start it, and so I replaced another pattern that I had planned to start but hadn't yet purchased, and that was Falling Snow by Shannon Christine Designs. I still want to do that in the future, but I'm just gonna call it for now, and that was going to be started in January, which made sense for January, but at the same time, I will be spending January in the Midwest, and it's going to be very gross and gloomy, and I will probably feel like Ebenezer Scrooge. So that one will be great. Fresh Picked Lavender will be started on April. I lost count. April 14th of 2025. And Solitude will be started on June 14th of 2025. I also did explain in the past, but just to reiterate, I have all of these in these Amazon bags with all of the information written on the outside. It was just the way to keep things the most organized for me. I know supporting other businesses with project bags, it would be something I would love to do, but financially I am not able to do so. All right, the next one is Little House Needleworks, and it is part of their In the Woods, what is it called? In the Log Cabin Christmas series, and it looks like it's called In the Woods Bear, but everywhere I had seen this written, it was called Log Cabin for Bear, and that's what I have it just documented as, but it looks like it's actually called In the Woods Bear, and it is adorable. I have this kitted up with the called for DMC conversion that they provide with a 32 count sand linen. This one will be started on January 14th, 2025. Next is another small, and I did intentionally try very hard to make sure that I had attainably finishable pieces interspersed with some of the possibly larger projects that I'm starting in 2025. I did want to be reasonable. My goal for 2025 is to finish 14 projects, which I think is definitely doable. I would actually hope that I finish more, but 14 sounded like a good number because my birthday is on the 14th. So it was a good number to, make that a reasonable goal that I can actually hit. I'm very confident that I can make that. So, that log, I'm sure I could finish that in a sitting or two, so it'll be fine. And this is another small that would only take a few sittings. It is called Bee Quaker by Frog Cottage Designs. I am starting this on May 20th, 2025. I have it kitted up with the called for DMC, very simple DMC, and a mystery linen that I had in my stash. I have no idea what this is. This is from a grab bag, so it was not labeled. It's not an offcut of anything I've ever used. It's kind of yellowy with a touch of very pale pink. It's probably like a 32 count. It looks like it could possibly be a 36. It's a little bit tighter than a 32. But that one will be started May 20th of 2025. All right, we got 3 more. Next is a hands-on design, which I love them. This is Let's Talk Stitching. I'm doing the large piece. I'm doing somewhat of a conversion of this. I pulled classic colorworks that I had in my stash. These were actually mostly left over from the Hands-On Designs Scary Apothecary series. So some of them actually strangely worked really well for this piece, as well as some of the called for DMCs that I had from stash, all in this ring. And I'm stitching this on a 14 count sage green Aida. This one will be started on Valentine's Day 2025. Two more, and the last one is my favorite that I cannot wait to start. So I can't wait to share that one with you. But the next one is Tiny Modernist Night Terrarium. And I am stitching this on an 18 count black Aida, 2/1. And I will be starting this on Pi Day, March 14th, 2025. And these colors are just gorgeous. They're really messy. Like I said, some of these come off of bobbins, so they're really like wrinkly, but it's fine. It doesn't matter when you're stitching, but like these colors are so gorgeous. So I cannot wait to stitch this one. I thoroughly enjoy Tiny Modernist's patterns. I've stitched The Secret Garden by them, loved it, and so I'm happy to be doing another pattern by them. Okay, the last new start for 2025 to share is actually the first one I will be starting in 2025 on New Year's Day. And it is a Heaven and Earth Designs. It is the only full coverage that I have, large, like full coverage piece that I have intended to start in 2025. It is called Autumn Peace. And this is less a New Year, New Start and more a memorial piece for a very beloved black cat that I lost in December, whose birthday we celebrated on January 1st. So I am very, very excited to start this piece. I will be stitching this on a 20 count Aida Easy Grid, 1/1. And as far as Heaven and Earth Designs go, this is what I feel a reasonably sized Haid. It's only 350 by 502. And as far as Haids go, I think that's manageable. I'm also very happy with the fabric. I'm just really excited to start it. My plans for stitching this are to stitch by row of pages an extreme cross-country by color per row of page. So really looking forward to that one. This is the one that it's hardest to just not start. Like I want to start it. I want to start it now. I want to work on it because to me working on this piece is like spending time with him. His name was Ricky and I love him so very much. So looking forward to that one. And then the last, okay, so I have two more things to share before I let you go today. The first is this photo album I had shared last month that I got it in a garage sale. It's nothing fancy. It's literally just a photo album with 100 pages in it. And what I did was I made cards, and I've actually been using them throughout the process of this whip parade, or not whip parade, but floss tube, where I just took a piece of colored, it's just colored paper, and glued another piece of paper on top. It's nothing fancy. And I just wrote, you know, the pattern, if it's part of a series, the designer, what count of fabric I'm using, the fabric, the stitch type, you know, what date I started it, what date I finished it. And I put those in here. And I did also go ahead and fill in the information for my new starts of 2025. And so this is just a good way of tracking my whips. I have them in chronological order. Some of them are, the ones are missing because I pulled them out for this, and then I will put them back in. My plans are to write on the back every month the amount of time that I spent working on that project that month, so that by the end of the project I can tally it up and see how much time I spent working on this. And it can also document what months I worked on those projects. I decorated this with just stickers that I had. They're mostly Taylor Swift or cats. Like, look at him hula hooping. Or what else? He wants belly scritches. So, very cute. And then the last thing I got is actually a marketplace find. It's a very unseeming tote bag until you turn it around. And cute, right? Like, it's just a simple tote bag. It's pretty heavy duty, like fabric wise. I feel like it's not, if it got wet, it doesn't feel like it would be ruined, and anything in it would be ruined. The snaps are kind of busted a little bit, which is fine. I'm not going to use this for hoops or needles or scissors. I'm going to put whatever I want in it, but it is very cute nonetheless. It says it was made in Taiwan, and it was labeled as vintage. I don't know if it's actually vintage, because you never know. It smells vintage and it feels vintage. Like, the heavy duty material that it's made with feels vintage. It doesn't feel like something you would get today, but I could be completely wrong. So I love it nonetheless. I'm going to be using this to tote projects around when I am going places to stitch. Very cute. Okay. To close out and wrap up all my thoughts, I can't wait for 2025 for all those new starts. My goal is going to be 1,000 stitches per project, or a finish, because some of those are too small. They don't have 1,000 stitches in them. So that would be the goal. 1,000 stitches or a finish, and that feels very attainable. I think that I can do that, because that would be only like 85. I don't remember the number. It would be like 85,000 stitches for the year of 2025. And I think I stitched that much, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm not gonna, plans are plans. I'm very loose with plans. I do what I can. And, this month I had a lot of stitching time, but who knows what is going to happen in 2025. So thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for sharing your time with me, looking at my projects, listening to me ramble. I get very excited and love sharing this stuff with people, you know, and let's just take one last gander at the ever beautiful Lady Justice. Have a good day, everybody.